Hello folks, welcome to another video for Teamfight Tactics. In this video, we're going to be looking at the new co-op team mode. This is the two-player mode. It's officially called Double Up, but you play in a team of two against three teams that are also teams of two. Joining me here is JDP El Grillo, who has been in a ton of the other Teamfight Tactics games that I've done over the past couple of years. So we queued up. This was the second game that we did. We came in second place in the first game that we did. And that was despite the fact that we ran into some pretty weird stuff in the first game. There's currently a bug in the game with the scrap trait. I expect this will be fixed quickly, but it causes a lot of items to disappear when you're playing the scrap trait. So that'll probably get hotfixed. But this was the day that the patch came out that introduced the co-op mode. So we're just here testing it out and going to be exploring that in this game. So the way that this works is you and the other person you're playing with share one life bar. So it'll say that I have 100 health and Grillo has 100 health, but that's kind of a shared life bar because when either one of us takes damage, then both of us end up taking damage. And there's also other possibilities for you to kind of collaborate with your teammate throughout the game. You might have noticed that right here at the start of stage 1-3, a little gold item pops up and it's on the bench. I can't recall what the a formal name for this is, but it basically lets a rune of something. It lets you pass a champion and any items that they're holding over to your partner, and you'll get 3 of these throughout the game. So it's really important to coordinate with your teammate and think about what units and potentially items, because any items that the unit is carrying will pass over as well. But what units and items you might want to pass over to your teammate. So there's a lot of opportunities to coordinate. Like I said, you get one of these right at the start of the game, and then you'll get 2 more over the course of the game. Now, of course, this is still set 6, so we still get augments, and I am going to take the Innovator soul here. Your team counts as having 2 additional Innovators, and this was just an amazingly good thing to find here on stage 1-4. Obviously, everyone gets a Prismatic augment, so everybody's going to have something really good, but the Innovator soul is especially good because the Innovator trait was changed around a little bit in this patch. They made the Innovator trait weaker at lower star levels, but actually better at higher star levels. And in particular, the reward for playing Innovator 7, which produces a hextech mechanical dragon. The dragon was buffed to be very overpowered, and you need an Innovator heart or soul of some kind to get that. You need to have either the Innovator heart or the Innovator soul that comes out of an augment, because there's only 5 Innovators, so you can't get up to 7 Innovators, or there's 6 Innovators, so you can't get up to 7 Innovators normally. But if you can get there, well, we're going to see. The dragon is pretty overpowered. All right, so right here at the start of stage 2, Grillo and I are talking with the other, trying to coordinate here, and he is going to send me a Zillion that popped up in his store. You can see the Zillion just kind of teleports into the battlefield, and now I'm going to look to play the Zillion. So Zillion is super important because it allows me to get up to Innovator 5, and that's going to mean I don't even have to fool around with the Scarab, which is what you get for Innovator 3. I can just go straight up to Innovator 5 and immediately get the mechanical hextech tibbers. So this early in the game, having the hextech tibbers is ridiculously strong. Like, you are not supposed to have Innovator 5 in on stage 2-1. So yeah, this is going to be pretty good. And if you watch Tibbers, he's just going to be slapping people around in these fights. Like, he gets spun on by Darius, and it takes out like 10% of his life bar. So yeah, I'm going to have a very strong early board and should be able to win streak through the early game. Now, you might have noticed, as soon as I win, I immediately jump over to Grillo's board, and that's one of the other really cool things about the double up co-op team mode, is after you win a round, or if your partner wins a round, after a 5-second delay, you will jump over to the other person's board. And so that can make for these fights really kind of crazy, in the sense that you can be jumping over to your partner's board, they can jump over to your board, but that also applies to your opponents as well. So if you have a long drawn out fight and your opponent wins their fight, they can have their teammate come in. One of the oddities of this is you and your teammate will never hit 2 teammates from the same team. So like, we're on like the yellow team. If you see the interface, we will not ever both hit people from the purple team or both hit people from the orange team. We'll always hit people from different teams. I think the one exception is if it's down to just 2 teams left in the lobby, then obviously you're going to hit one another. But that's kind of the way it works. And so that allows for people coming into these fights. It can actually get kind of crazy. You can actually have 4 players teams on a single board. So like right now, Grillo is coming over to help me because he's won his fight pretty quickly. So now we have just like this absurd, ridiculous. We have like 8 units on the board against this poor unit that's left for the other person's board. So yeah, and then I'm gonna just sell to get up to 10 gold for the interest right there. So we're off to a really nice start. I was able to win my 2 rounds. Grillo would have lost his first round, but because I was able to win my first round so quickly, I was able to come over and join him. And so we're both on a 2-match winning streak here. We're still very early in this mode. Like, it just came out of the public beta environment. It's still technically in beta right now, even though it's out on the public release. But what I can say is I think that it's valuable to play strong boards early on because there's a serious snowball mechanic in this game in the way that you can come over and join your partner's board. Like, I don't think that lost streaking is especially good. Obviously, sometimes you have to lost streak because you just have a really weak starting setup and there's not a lot you can do about it. But because if you win rounds quickly, you can come over and help your partner and therefore, help both of you get out to a win streak. I feel like playing strong boards is even better than it normally is in situations like this because like Grillo would have lost the first round if I hadn't been able to come over and help him. And so like if you can both if one or both of you can be off to a strong start, it can really help accelerate you in the early game. Unfortunately, in this round, it's not going to be enough. And so Grillo ends up losing that one. Note that we take 1 damage, by the way. So as I mentioned before, your health bar is shared. So if you both win rounds, you avoid taking health. If one person wins and one person loses, you still take damage. So like even though I haven't lost a round yet, I still take a point of damage because Grillo lost that 3rd round. And similarly, if you both lose rounds, you lose a lot of health. And you can actually lose a ton of health very quickly if you're both losing rounds because you're kind of taking double losses. And it's not great. It's not great when that happens. So you can, like the damage can add up pretty quickly if you're both losing rounds. And in particular, if you're both weak, then you're going to see, you're going to have to deal with not just your own team comp, but you're going to have other team comps flying in as well. All right, now in addition, you're going to see another thing drop in right here. And so if you look at the interface at the top of the screen, in round stage 2, 4, 5, and stage 2, 6, you're going to be offered an opportunity of 3 things that you can gift to your partner. Now, we didn't get to see that because it popped up on Grillo's screen, but in the next round, you're going to see 3 things will pop up for me that I can then send over to Grillo. In terms of what you get here on stage 2.5 and stage 2.6, I believe it's always 2 item components, your choice of 2 item components, and then alternately you can take 8 gold. So I went ahead and took the 8 gold. And I think in most situations here in stage 2, it's generally better to take the gold just because it accelerates your build so much in terms of your economy. Like 8 gold, with the way that the interest mechanic works in Teamfight Tactics, the quicker you can get up to 50 gold and start earning maximum interest, that tends to be really powerful in these games. So yes, obviously sometimes there's going to be a component that's just perfect for your team, or you could be in a position where you're very weak and you need an item component to stabilize yourself. But I think generally speaking, it's better to take the 8 gold early on. So like here, I parachute into Grillo's round to help him out, and then the person that Grillo's fighting, their teammate also jumps in. So we actually have 4 players boards here, but we're able to beat both of their players. And I'm continue to be on a win streak here. So I have the choice of giving Grillo a rod, a belt, or 8 gold. And he's going to tell me that he wants the 8 gold. So I'm going to pass that along. And that's going to have both of us off to a really nice economics. I mean, look at how much money I have here. It's stage 2-6, and I am at 30 gold even before we get to the minions. And it's not like I haven't been spending money on my board. I have, I have a 2-star Zillion, 2-star Ez. I've got a Samira in here. Like, all that stuff does cost money. So it's not like I'm playing some bare bones board. But thanks to getting that 8 gold interest, it really has accelerated my economy along in just a fantastic way. So I'm super duper happy with how that's going. Now, in terms of what I'm playing, since I got the Innovator Soul for +2 Innovators, I am definitely going to play an Innovators comp. And I'm going to look to try to go into Jin later on because I think the Innovator comp plays really nicely into snipers. You already get Clockwork because you're going to be running Zillion, and so that pairs nicely with Jin. And it's kind of easy to just slot in more snipers from there. In addition to this, you also, if you can play into Jace, then if you could play Jace plus Caitlyn for Enforcers, which is nice. And then there's options, of course, to build in a bunch of different directions from there. Once again, here, it looked like Grillo was about to lose, but because my team wins so quickly, I'm able to hop over and join his board. And so we're able to win that round as well and not end up losing any health. So we're still at 99 health at the end of stage 2, which is pretty awesome. As far as what Grillo's playing, he was looking to go into Yordle Arcanist, but then just like really didn't find any Yordles whatsoever. So he ended up pivoting into a setup that was very tanky. I think he, at this point, I think he had 2 bodyguards, and he will eventually end up with 4 bodyguards. It's a bit of a shame, again, that this is pre-recorded footage. If this were a real replay, if Teamfight Tactics had actual reach plays, which they still don't have, somewhat miraculously, the game's been out for 3 years now, still doesn't have replays. I could show you his board if we had replays and focus more on what his team's doing. But since this is pre-recorded footage, this is from when I was playing the game. I had to focus on what I was doing. So I will just tell you that Grillo is building into a setup that has a whole lot of bodyguards, and then he'll just have to find something to play behind like that super tanky front line. And we'll figure that out later. But again, look how rich I am. I have 47 gold and I'm level 5. This is just nutty how much money I have here. So taking the 8 gold, now obviously it helps if you win streak all throughout stage 2, being on a big long winning streak. I mean, I've won all 5 rounds in a row. Obviously that makes a really big difference, but then also taking the 8 gold helps a lot as well. I could very easily go to level 6 here and play another unit, but I was like, what exactly do I play here? It's kind of unclear what else I would actually play in this situation. So I've mostly been playing Innovators. I have Ezreal plus Singed plus Zillion, and I've managed to 2-star all of them. So I've been able to, each star level on your Innovators makes the hextech unit stronger. So that's made the mechanical bear a bit stronger. And I think I highlight what the mech Tibbers actually does here, if I remember correctly. So when Tibbers monobar fills up, the bear surges with power. He gains 100% attack damage, and he gives the entire team 20 AD and 20 AP for 4 seconds. So the bear does a lot on its own. Like, it has a lot of HP. It deals a lot of damage with its autos, but it also gives the entire team AD and AP when it uses its ability. So that's pretty cool. And then I'm going to jump in here, but it doesn't look like Grillo really needs a lot of help for this round. So we're going to stomp all over this person. Grillo took the +1 team size augment, the Force of Nature team augment, when he had his Prismatic. So we got some pretty good augments. And I want to make it clear, it's not like I'm doing anything super amazing here in this particular setup. I've mostly been win streaking because I got the Innovator Soul, and it feels like that's pretty overpowered this early in the game. But I do want to highlight how important it was for Grillo to send me that early Zillion. It was having Zillion in there that allowed me to play the mechanical Tibbers on stage 2-1 that really got me off to this fast start. And then I was able to start win streaking, and we all know how in Teamfight Tactics, if you get out to a good economic start and you can start stacking up that income, it just snowballs over time because you hit earlier levels faster, you hit access to the more advanced units faster, you can keep the win streak going. So like winning leads to more winning, leads to more winning, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I couldn't have gotten out to that immediate early snowball without having the Zillion passed over. So even though it might seem like, oh, he sent you a 2-cost unit, does that really matter? Well, in this case, I think it did. I think it was pretty important. All right, hopping over to Grillo's board. Does he need me? And it looks like he was able to win his round without needing me. So I am on a big win streak. I'm on, a 7-match winning streak, and Grillo's now on a 4-match winning streak. So we are just reinforcing the fact that each of us are pretty strong. And so we're kind of helping each other out here. In particular, it's actually kind of interesting the way what we kind of ran into here by coincidence. Grillo is playing a really tanky board. I think he's up to the 4 bodyguards by this point. So his board is really tanky. And because I win my rounds really quickly, thanks to having the overpowered Tibbers, I win the rounds quickly, and then I just kind of fly into the battle, and then I'm able to take over for the fact that his team is so tanky. It can actually be valuable sometimes if you are the weaker of the 2 players to build stuff like Guardian Angel, just because it will drag out the length of the fight and provide more time for your teammate to come over and help you out. So it's not just whether you win rounds or lose rounds, how quickly you win them also matters a great deal in this team mode. The other stuff I have in here is I was looking to play through Camille. I was going to put my items on Camille, but then I didn't really find any more Camille's. So I have Camille in because she gives Clockwork with Zillion. And then I also managed to find this 2-star Quinn kind of randomly. So I was like, all right, I guess I'll just play Challengers for the time being. I found a Yone, so I'll just throw in Yone. And it's like, this is one of the advantages of being level 7 super duper early. I'm level 7 on stage 3-3, which is incredibly early. So I can just find a Yone by rolling 10 gold. And it's like, all right, I hit Yone. I'm not planning on playing him long term, but I'll just throw items on the Yone, and then we'll run some challengers here. And then I can get to level 8 quickly and then roll down and start to find my actual team composition. So we're still on 99 health here on stage 3 carousel. Of course, that means that we will pick last. And of course, you pick together with your teammate. You pick at the same time, so it's important to coordinate as far as who's going to take which items. We were on voice chat during this game, which I would highly encourage if you're going to play the 2-player mode. I wanted to get the Seraphine because Seraphine would allow me to play 7 Innovators. I just needed either a Seraphine or a Jace, but that gets snapped up right away, so I don't have much of a choice there. And I'm going to go ahead and take this bow. And I was reasoning, bow will be Giant Slayer. That's a pretty good item for a potential Jhin later on, so I'll look to do that. I also see that there's a Fiora in the store, so I'm going to take out the Heimer because he doesn't do a whole lot. I guess he makes the Tibber slightly stronger. So I'm going to put in Fiora, and then I'm going to sell this 1-star Camille and replace with the Camille that's on my bench, and put these items on Yone. So we've got 4 Challenger Yone. I wouldn't say that Yone carries super hard with 4 Challenger. If you're playing Yone for real, you generally want to build more through Academy trait than through Challenger. It's not that Challenger's bad, it's just that he kind of gets a little bit more out of higher tiers of Academy, getting more AD, as opposed to getting more attack speed. But, this is not bad. I mean, Yone's items are not best in slot by any means, but Giant Slayer BF Sword, that's not too bad. And he has 4 Challenger, 2 Clockwork, so he's certainly going to attack nice and fast. So even though this is a little bit wonky, for middle of stage 3, it's pretty good having this in. And I win quickly, so I'm going to be able to jump over here. Not that it looks like Grillo needs help from me, because his front line of Darius plus Poppy plus Blitzcrank, plus I think he has a Leona in there. The 4 bodyguards are very difficult for other people to get through this early in the game. Again, the bodyguard, he has, 4 bodyguards, and then he has Syndicate, and he's playing through Darius at the moment. Like, it's very difficult for people to get through that 200 armor on his bodyguards, and Darius with the Hand of Justice actually heals a pretty good amount, especially if he rolls healing. So this will get outscaled eventually, but it'll give Grillo time that he can, do the same thing I'm doing. Econ up, get to level 8, roll down at 8, and find some kind of carry unit to play behind his front line. So he doesn't really have a carry unit behind it right now, but he doesn't need it as much because even if his team just stalls for a while, my team is pretty much going to win my round and then come in and help him out. So you definitely can have some unusual tactics in a game like this. And I win my round in like 8 seconds. So I'm able to hop over here and, oh boy. The poor person we're up against. Grillo had like 6 units still alive. I have like 7 units still alive. It's like 13 on 1 here at the end, so pretty hilarious stuff. In any case, though, we win streak all through stage 3, and this has just put us in absolutely incredible shape throughout for this game. We have so much money, we have so much health. We should not lose the game from this point if we have any clue whatsoever what we're doing, because we're so rich that we should be able to translate this into a decisive edge. And the remainder of the game is going to be like a test of, can we do this? Can we manage to take an overwhelming economic lead and transform it into a lead in board strength, if that makes sense. So hopefully we should be able to do that. But I really just need to get another Innovator so I can get up to Innovator 7. I'm looking for Jhin. I'm looking for more Innovators. And of course, I'm looking for Jace if he would happen to pop up. So here at the beginning of stage 4, we get our second item that lets you transfer a champion over to the other team. I'm going to hold here at level 7 for the moment, and look to roll as soon as I hit level 8. Roll 8 to kind of get my core team comp in place, stabilize, and then hopefully can go to fast 9 after that. So I go ahead and make the Spear of Shojin for Yone, and I make Spear of Shojin because it's an okay item on on Jhin. I've said this before, but I always get those two confused when I'm mentioning them. It's an okay item on Jhin. It's not bad. It does cause him to ult a lot more often. But it's a very good item on Seraphine, and I know I'm going to be playing Seraphine. So I could use this on Jhin. I could use it on Seraphine. It'll definitely get some value. And I have all these tiers, so I can't really use tiers very well in this team comp. So I figure I might as well make a Shojin, get some use out of that. I don't want 5 items on my bench doing nothing. So I can use it on either Seraphine or I can use it on Jhin, depending. And then I've still got another tier that I have to find some other use for, but I'll see if I can figure something out. All right, I'm going to look to go to 8 here, and I'm going to roll. And I'm trying to communicate with Grillo and see what he needs in this game. So I was trying to ask him repeatedly, is there a particular unit you need? I have an Akali here, and I was like, do you want Akali? Because there was the potential, he was playing Syndicate units. There was the potential to just look to play Akali. And we actually have a little bit of miscommunication here. I was like, oh, okay, I can give him a tier. He can make blue buff on Akali. So I'll put this tier on Akali, and then I'm going to transfer it over. But the round starts right before that happens. And I actually got confused here. Again, we're still very new to this gameplay mode. I thought that I had sent this unit over to Grillo, but in fact, Akali had actually gone into the board because the round was starting. I only had 7 units in. and I was level 8, so I got to play another unit, and the game just automatically grabbed my Akali and tossed it in. So she was on my board, and I was looking for her. I was like, what the? Where did she go? I was like, what happened to Akali? I couldn't figure out what the heck happened to her. But she was actually on my board, and I didn't realize it until after the round was over. So we are still in here. I sent my units over, but I didn't have too many units survive this time. And Grillo's up against someone who is playing Yordles and has just hit the 2-star Heimerdinger power spike. So Grillo does ultimately lose that round. And that's not a surprise because we're at a point in time in the game where other people are rolling down and we're at the point where we're trying to transition into our team comp. So I still have the Akali in. I don't realize at this moment that I have the Akali in. I was like, where's the Akali? We were communicating. We're like, why hasn't Akali popped up over on Grillo's board? We couldn't figure out what happened. So since we couldn't figure out what happened to Akali, I was like, do you just want this Kaisa? Because I found a Kaisa. And Grillo was like, okay, I guess I'll take Kaisa instead. So I send the Kaisa over, and then after the round starts, we were like, wait a minute, oh, Akali's still on my board. So yeah, miscommunication. For the fact that we're new to this game mode caused us to miscommunicate a bit there and have some confusion. So the net result is Grillo ends up playing through Kaisa and not through Akali. I think Akali would have been slightly better for his setup because he was already playing Syndicate. And then he could have just gone like 2 assassins or 4 assassins. But we're going to work through Kaisa. So he's going to end up with like a challenger, with like a tanky frontline plus challenger Kaisa instead of the Akali that we were going to have. And now here I would have beaten my opponent, but I actually, the round goes on so long that his teammate was able to come in and join. So I actually end up losing. And there's a case of an example where the teammate mechanic actually backfires and hurts me instead of helping me. It's been helping us throughout most of this game, but it does apply both ways because I was very slow to try to win the round. I end up losing it because their teammate's able to come in. We still have way more health than anyone else. We're at 90 health. Everybody else is like under 50 HP. So we're last to pick, and I'm going to take this Brawler's Glove because that is enough for an Infinity Edge. And Grillo is going to take the Yone with the Rod because I think he's building into some challengers at this point. So we're starting to get there. I'll need a little bit more time, but we've been hitting some good stuff. I'm going to, let's see, I sell the Zac so that I can get that glove over on my side. I'm going to sell the Akali belatedly. I found the Yuumi, so I'm definitely going to play that. That's going to make Scholar with the Heimerdinger when I play that. So I'm going to put Morello's on Yuumi. It's one of her best items. And I see that there are 2 Heimers in the shop. Sooner or later, I am going to buy these. And I believe that Grillo found a Seraphine right here and sends it over. And that'll be enough to give me 7 Innovators. So I want to go ahead and play the Seraphine, but I just run out of time to get it in. So for the next round, I'm going to look to play the Heimer, who is 2-starred now, and will give me Scholar with Yuumi, and then Seraphine, and that'll get me up to 7 Innovators. I actually have some units I don't even need in here. Like, I don't need the Camille anymore because I have 3 Clockwork. I'm not going to need 3 ranks of Clockwork. I actually get beaten pretty badly in this round. This is like the first genuinely bad loss I've taken in the entire game because I hit the person with the 3-star Gangplank. And that's not so great, but I'm still transitioning my board, and I just need a tiny bit more time to pull that off. All right, so we get our last augment here, and I have the option to take a Sniper Emblem, which is going to be fantastic for me. That allows me to take Caitlyn out of my team comp and still play snipers. So I'm looking here. I'm going to drop these challengers. I don't need them. And I still have an extra Clockwork unit in here that I need to realize that I can put in, I can still take Camille out. I need to put something else in. I don't think I have another unit to play at the moment. So I think she stays in this for like 1 more round, but I definitely can do better than this. I'm going to put the Sniper Emblem on Seraphine because I know she's going to stay in the team comp. And this opens up the possibility to play 4 snipers at level 9, which is where I think I'm going to end up going with this board. That said, the most important thing that happened is I got up to 7 Innovators, and so now the Mechanical Tibbers has turned into a Mechanical Dragon. And the biggest thing that happened with Innovators in this patch is the Dragon was enormously buffed in this patch. Innovators was weakened at early tiers of the trait, like the having like Innovator 3 is weaker now than before, but Innovator 7 is much stronger than it was before. The Dragon, essentially its ability got buffed by a lot. What the Dragon's ability does is it's a fear effect. It causes terror for the enemy team, and it hits the whole board. So watch, it's going to go off here, and there it is. It's the big effect. Look at the little terror symbol on the enemy team. So it has a 5 range. It hits people within 5 tiles. So that's the entire board. Like, it's hard to see a situation where the Dragon is not going to hit the entire board because you should just put it in the middle of the board, and then everything will be within 5 range hexes. And the fear effect lasts for 4 seconds. Yeah, so the Dragon hits the entire board and fears them for 4 seconds, which is ridiculous. So it fears the entire board. They just stand around doing nothing for 4 seconds when it uses its ability. And of course, it's very tanky and it does quite a bit of damage as well. Of course, you can't itemize it further, but I mean, that AoE crowd control effect is just ridiculous. So now that I have the dragon in, I feel pretty confident that I can go to level 9. I don't have 2-star Jin, and I actually still have quite a few 1-stars on my board, but I think with the dragon in there, I can just easily go to level 9. Also, I get a little bit sad here. I put a sword on Jin earlier, and I should have held off on committing that sword because I got the items for a perfect Last Whisper here, and I could have had Infinity Edge, Giant Slayer, Last Whisper, which is like Jin's perfect item, so that's a little bit sad, but you know, I can't make another Infinity Edge. You can't put double Infinity Edges, so the choice is double Giant Slayers or Giant Slayer plus Shojin, and I think Giant Slayer plus Shojin is better than double Giant Slayer. So I'm going to go ahead and make the Shojin. That'll cause Jin to cast a lot more often. He'll fill up his mana bar quicker, a lot quicker. And I make a Last Whisper for Seraphine because why not? I might as well have someone that's doing the armor shred. Now, if I can get a Jason, I'll put Jason hammer form, and Jace's hammer form is also an armor and magic resist shred. I'm not sure a ton of people know that, but Jace will also be an armor shred, so that'll open up for more stuff, for more damage from Jin. By the way, this Swain is very tanky, but he doesn't ultimately do that much damage, so we're able to cut through the Swain and win that round, and now pop over to help Grillo's board. So it looks like Grillo was able to... Oh, it looks like Grillo lost before we could get over there. So the two of us are going to take some damage. Note that I'm highlighting the Sniper's trait. This is still early in set 6, so I should talk at least briefly about what the Sniper trait does. By the way, I'm also getting close to a random 3-star Zillion, so I'll just hold and see if I manage to hit the 3-star Zillion. What Snipers do is they do additional damage based on how far away they are from their target. So basically, the further they are away from the person they're hitting, the more damage they do. And that applies to both auto attacks and abilities. So in particular for someone like Misfortune, who most of her damage is from her ability, not her auto attacks, it does still apply to her abilities. By the way, there you get a good look at Grillo's board for a second. At Sniper 2, it's 8% additional damage for each hex distance. And at Sniper 4, that benefit doubles up to 16%. Now you might say, oh, well, that doesn't really do that much. 16%, that doesn't sound like a lot. Well, if somebody's 5 hexes away, 16% per hex times 5 hexes, that's 80% additional damage. That's a lot of extra damage. So Sniper 4 does do quite a bit more damage. Here I'm able to jump in, and I think that Grillo was about to lose this round against the 3-star Gangplank, but who is farming a lot of gold, by the way. But my board was able to come in, and so we're able to win that round and avoid losing any health. So yes, having Snipers 4 is quite nice. That's why I'm picking up the Misfortunes here. I can put her and Kate in. I'll drop this random Braum that I just threw in for no reason when I hit level 9. I'll drop the Braum, and then I'll put in Kate, and then I'll also put in the Misfortune, and that'll get me to 4 Snipers. So 4 Snipers is a lot of damage. The weakness of 4 Snipers is you have to play a bunch of sniper units that really aren't that good. Like, you don't really want to be playing Caitlyn and Kog'Maw and Tristana, like, late in the game. They're just not very good units. So getting a Sniper emblem is super nice because it allows you to run Snipers 4 without having to run more sniper units. So like I was able to turn Seraphim into a sniper, and she actually does a decent amount of damage with her ability. It's not huge damage by any means, but it's not terrible, and it's not bad to have that on. Anyway, by the way, have you been noticing the crowd control combo in these fights? Ever since I put in the mechanical dragon, I've just been dumpstering people in every single fight, because what happens is the dragon goes off about 5 seconds into the fight. The entire enemy team gets feared for 4 seconds, and then that's enough time for Yumi to charge up Yumi's ability. And then Yumi like CCs the entire enemy team and applies Morello as well. So yeah, we end up losing that round on the person that Grillo's up against. We actually noticed that the team that had 1 HP looked pretty strong. Huge Duke Sean and Zareth Playa. We thought they had the strongest board. They just had 1 HP. So let's talk a little bit about what happens when you get eliminated, or how you get eliminated in this duo mode. So once you... you can't be knocked below 1 HP if you have more than 1 HP. Doesn't matter if you have 2 health and you get destroyed. You can't drop lower than 1 HP if you're above 1 HP. But once you get to 1 health, if either teammate loses, then you lose the game. So that's the way it works. Once you hit 1 HP, if either teammate loses, you're out of the game. So you basically get one last chance when you get down to 1 HP, but you can't lose again from that point. By the way, I get another Kaisa, and I'm going to send it over to Grillo here because he's playing through Kaisa at the moment. There, I'm going to find Jace, so now I can take out Singed, and this is what having the Innovator Soul allows me to do. It allows me to play just Jace and not Singed and still get the dragon. Otherwise, I'd have to play Singed as well. And so that's also going to put the 4 snipers in play by putting Kate and Misfortune in there. So now I get the big sniper bonus damage. And I also get Enforcer and trait in as well, Enforcer 2. So that's going to crowd control one member of the enemy team. All right, there goes the dragon. And that's going to CC the entire enemy team. And now it's about time for Yuumi to ult. Yuumi kind of trolls her ult here, so we end up losing. So yeah, like I said, I thought that person's board was pretty strong. They had a Yone that was really strong. But look what happened. Even though Xerath Playa beats me, Huge Duke Sean lost somewhere else. I don't know who was up against that person. And so they're out of the game. It doesn't matter. They're eliminated because this is a team game. And remember, you share a life bar, so they're dead. And so we don't have to worry about seeing them anymore. And now amusingly, I see another Kaisa in the store. If you note, I've used my like unit transfer items on 2 Kaisas thus far. So I've sent Grillo 1 Kaiso, I've sent him a 2nd Kaisa, and now I'm going to send him a 3rd Kaisa because we get the 3rd and final item that lets you transfer a champion over at the start of stage 6. So basically, I just made a 2-star Kaisa and sent it over to Grillo. So that was just kind of a coincidence how it worked out that way, but we thought it was pretty funny that I like built his main carry unit entirely by myself. All right, so that last round I did actually lose, but this one I think will go better. Just need the dragon to go off, and there it is. So that's going to fear the entire enemy team, and that buys time for Jin to shoot. And now Yumi's going to hit the entire enemy team because they're bunched up, and yeah, so we're going to knock that player down to 1 HP. So now they're also on Death's Door, and I'm able to hop in here and help out against the 3-star Gangplank team. I think that person's teammate came in as well, but it looks like we have got this. And we're going to knock them down to 6 HP. So we're getting pretty close to the end of the game here. We are still super duper healthy. And the other players, let's just say, are not super duper healthy. Anyway, so Grillo's got 4 bodyguards. You note he's got a Kaisa in there. And then he's also added Yone to get Challenger. And then he just has like some enchanters that he's using to provide some utility for the rest of the team. He has a very tanky front line. And then he's basically playing through Kaisa behind it. That's not like the strongest comp that you can possibly build by any means, but it seems to be working well enough here. And like I said, we've kind of been out in front of the lobby the entire game, so we're just trying to stick with that. All right, so here we get the item that comes over, but I actually make a mistake. I get confused with the graphic, and I accidentally put Titans on Kaisa, and I was like, uh-oh. I meant to transfer Kaisa over, so I have to sell the Kaisa. Yeah, again, we're still new to this game mode. I have to sell the Kaisa so I can move that over to Jace. And now I'm just rolling to see if I can 2-star some of my units. There is 2-star Seraphine. Come on, give me some more 2-stars here in the shop. I'm just still looking. And there's another Kaisa, so I send the Kaisa over. So I found another Kaisa in the shop, even though the one I initially had ends up getting sold. And I'm still rolling it down here. I still have the Nikos help I can use on either Jace. I'm going to use it on either Jace or Yuumi, but I want to roll down to 0 gold, see if I can find one of them in the shop naturally. And at the moment, it looks like it's going to be a Yuumi that I use that on because I only have the 1 Jace. And so I win my round against this person, and Grillo also won his round. And he's about to have a 2-star Kaisa with very good Kaisa items. Rageblade and the Archangels and the Hodge are all good items on Kaisa. All right, so again, rolling it down here, I see another Jace. That's great. I have no more Kaisas to send over to Grillo here, and he is going to send me over. What did he send me here? Oh no, this is the last gift round. By the way, you get another chance to gift your teammates an item, and so he goes ahead and sends me the Zephyr, and then I'm going to go ahead, find the last Yuumi, and Nico the Jace. And my board is just absolutely stacked right now because I've made 2-star Jace, I've made 2-star Jin, I've made 2-star Yuumi, I've made 2-star Seraphine, and I still got this Zephyr to place at the start of the round as well. My positioning is a little bit scuffed here. I really should have my Jin over on the right side because Jin should be on the opposite side from where the enemy carries. And if you notice, both of the teams, both of the players who are left have their carries on the left-hand side, so I should have Jin on the right-hand side. But it doesn't really matter that much. I've got a Zephyr to place. I'm going to Zephyr out the Urgot. By the way, this person has 8 Urgots, so it's probably a good thing that we're hitting them now before they can hit the 3-star Urgot. I don't know if 3-star Urgot would actually win against my board, but it's an academic exercise. I win against my person. Grillo wins against his person, and that's a wrap for this one. We're going to win this lobby with 62 HP left in a match that was not close ever from start to finish. I really think that getting the Innovator Soul just snowballed my board enormously past the competition here in the early game. So it's a first, and a pretty comfortable first at that. It was a lot of fun showing off the mechanical hextech dragon, which is very overpowered and will certainly be nerfed in the next patch. All right, well, this game mode is a ton of fun. It's really important to communicate with your teammate. I thought we did a good job of doing that throughout this match. It's just fun to play on a team with someone else. Teamfight Tactics can sometimes feel really lonely in this game, and having someone else on your team to communicate with is a lot of fun. By the way, how many units did Grillo have here? I guess he had 11 units at the end. Oh my god. Well, anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this. Until next time, have a great week, and I'll see you guys again soon.